Hi, this is Tashana from Growth TV, operating from my hot garage. Now, the biggest challenge that a lot of entrepreneurs have today is not the lack of funding, the lack of money. It's actually the mindset. And that is the reason when I found that out, when I found out that my problem was not money, it was mindset, I stopped calling my business side hustle. I stopped calling myself a hustler. I stopped treating my business like a small business. And I started to call it a business. Cause you see, when you see what you're operating as a real business, then you will put things in place. If you see your business as a side hustle, then you'll find yourself relaxing when you should be building. You will not have systems in place to protect you and protect your business. You will not be on top of bookkeeping if you don't see it as a business. You won't be checking on your inventory, keeping a track. It might take some time, because entering stuff in a spreadsheet or whatever electronic means or if you do it paper and pen, it's time consuming, but that's a part of your system. And if you find something even more effective, that's even better. If you don't see your business as a business and instead you're looking at it as just a little hustle, then you won't be studying your numbers. You won't be looking at what products actually bringing the greatest profit, not just the revenue, but when you think about the fees that comes out, what is your true profit? If you're not studying that, then your mindset is not right. You see, it doesn't matter if you are operating from your garage, your dining room, a small room in your house. It doesn't matter where you start, but what matters is where you're heading. I can tell you that a lot of the major companies that are still operating today, they didn't start in a skyscraper. They didn't start in an expensive office. When you look at Hewlett Packard, right? That was started by two guys who had a vision and a little over $500. But it was, to be fair, it was in 1939, so $500 was a lot of money at that time. But these two guys, they had a vision, and they had some money, but at the time it wasn't a lot. So what they did, they rented a garage. They rented a garage space, and that's where they started. So now you have big computers in a lot of the schools. They have contract where they are buying HP devices, HP printers, HP computers, right? When you think about printers, it might not be the number one computer today. Not that I'm saying that the brand is not good, but it might not be. But when you think about printers, it's easily the most popular printer. HB DexJet, Inkjet, OfficeJet. That company was started in a garage. Now, one of my favorite startup stories is that about Jeff Bezos. Now, here is the son of an immigrant. Yes, surely his dad is technically his stepfather who adopted him. But the father is an immigrant. He's a Cuban immigrant. And this man, he came into the country, and he worked hard, and his son would have seen everything that he was doing, and he developed that mindset. So when it is that Jeff went to college and he studied business, and he got a good job at Wall Street. He got a good job at Wall Street, but at the age of 30, he realized that was not for him. He wanted to do something more. So in 1994, he quit. He was vice president of a Wall Street company, and he quit the job. He called it quit. And what did he do? He went to his garage, and yes, his parents provided fund. They believe in his vision, and they invested a good amount of money in his company. But he started selling books online. That's how Amazon started in 1994. He didn't take all the money that they were giving him and go rent a building next door to where he was working before. He actually started from his garage, and look where Amazon is. The rest is history. The other company that comes to mind when I talk about successful company that started in a garage, that would have to be Apple. Started by two Steves. You have Steve Jobs and Steve it was near something like that. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his last name properly. And they in 1976, I think. If I'm wrong, I'll fix that. They started Apple in a garage. They started that company by building their first Apple computer in a garage. And look at this. Even though Steve is no longer with us, Steve passed away. What happening now is that company legacy it continues. It's beyond Steve. Every day they're inventing. So even though Steve Jobs has passed away, the other Steve is still alive, but he is in his 70s. He's not actively working in the company, right? And what you find now is that each day they're still working on inventing something or upgrading something that has already been invented. That company started in a garage. And I can give you a few more. Google started in a garage. Walt Disney Company started in a garage. Oh my God. Microsoft also started in a garage. Yeah. When Bill Gates and Paul Allen decided to start the company, they were two young men. They didn't have no money. At least they didn't have much. But they had a vision, and they had skills and knowledge. And what they did, they started their business in a garage, and look where those companies are now. So that's why I say it does not matter. It really doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter where you are today. But as long as you have a vision, and your vision is not limited. Because if your vision is limited, your business will only grow to where you can see. You have to start thinking outside of the box. You have to start saying, you know what? I don't know exactly what's going to happen in the next 5 years, but you start putting things into place, certain plans, and you take it one day at a time, and you make sure you have systems in place. When I started this, and even right now, I do not have a lot of capital. So that's what do? I go to thrift stores and I buy stuff. I buy stuff and I resell. There's gonna come a day when thrift stores are gonna be coming to me, asking me to buy in bulk. There's gonna come a day when this garage will not be the house of this business. I will have a warehouse, right? Because my vision is not limited to here, but I'm not looking down at my business. Because God has blessed me, and I'm doing my best to manage it to the best of my ability. So as we work, we have to keep in mind where we're going. It's not about today. It's not about getting the money, a quick few bucks, and spending it, not investing, not putting it back in your business, not putting back some of it. You have to think about taxes. You have to legalize what you're doing. Put things into place where you are able to access funding in a legal way. And I wish I know then what I know now, because things would have been different. But hey, I might be a late bloomer, but I'm still growing. And if you want to grow with me, hit the like, subscribe, and follow along this journey. And good luck. Good luck in everything that you do.